This is why you are having a bad time in Rivals ranked right now. And it's not because you're a bad player. It's because the system they are using is absolutely cooked. Let me explain this, because on the face of it, a performance-based matchmaking system makes a lot of sense, right? Because what this is doing is it's looking at your performance in the game and saying, have you performed well? And based off that performance, if your team wins, we're going to give you a certain amount of points. More points if you've performed really well than the average player on your team. However, if your team lose, but you play really well, then you won't lose as many points as the, I guess, average player on your team because you really played well. It was just unlucky that you lost. So, on paper, this sounds great, right? Because if you go back to a system where it's 25 points for a win, 25 points for a loss, if you're very close, or let's say you're the MVP, right, on your team, and you lose, and you're like, okay, this is kind of annoying, so you get SVP. You still lose the same amount of points, essentially, as everybody else on the team, because it was classed as a team game, and your team lost, so you lose points. It doesn't matter if you were having the best game of your life. Now, in a performance-based system, this would mean that you've had the game of your life, you're now the SVP. So let's just say, for example, everyone on your team loses 25 points. You might only lose 10 points because you played out of your mind. So what is going wrong with this, and why is it a complete disgrace? Well, we need to just go over this because it's insane. It's actually insane. So what you're probably seeing is a lot of strategists playing duelists, and I'm going to be honest, I'm in the same boat here. Now, it isn't because I was worried about my rank, because I'll give you a little bit of a secret. I actually don't care about rank. And if you've watched my videos for years, you'll know there was a meme a while back, and it was rank doesn't matter. I used to say it all the time. It was true. It doesn't matter. All you should do is go into the game and focus on having a better, you know, getting rid of your mistakes from game to game, and you'll get better at the game. The worst thing you can do is tilt and just go insane because you're losing games. But I wanted to play Human Torch. I've been playing a lot of Human Torch. You're watching Human Torch video, well, footage in this video in the background. It's awesome. It may be broken. Anyway, I'm enjoying playing him, right? I've been playing a bit of Hela. I've been playing some Iron Man. I'm kind of having a little bit of a DPS season, in a way, instead of support. But then I started looking into what's actually going on with the amount of points you get after you win a game as support versus DPS, and also various other roles, and if you lose. And there's some very weird patterns that are starting to show up. Now, if you go out into the Rivals community and you look around, you'll see this is kind of, it's being corroborated by a lot of different content creators and a lot of different players out there. If you go and look on Reddit, go and look on Twitter, wherever you want to look, go and look on TikTok, you'll see a lot of people talking about this. Because what is basically happening is, if you play support and you're doing a ton of healing, but you're not getting a ton of eliminations and kills, then you don't get as much of a reward when you win a game. And you lose more when you lose a game, because you're not getting enough eliminations. And it seems what's happening is, it's weighting eliminations over other stats, and also, so basically kills. It's also weighting if you get MVP. Now, this is the real critical thing here, because it's quite difficult to get MVP with supports compared to duelists, but then you can go even further down in the support category. So let's just stay on supports for a second here. Look at the different types of supports. Look at Adam Warlock. I'm afraid you're actually screwed if you're Adam Warlock, because you're not going to have massive healing. You're not going to have massive eliminations and kills. You're not going to have massive assists. But if you play Invisible Woman, you probably are. So what this means is, Invisible Woman is going to get more points than a similarly skilled Adam Warlock, and also lose more points if you lose a game. So why is this bad, right? Well, this means that if you've got a system which is incentivizing you playing certain heroes because you'll get less of a loss and more of a win, then you're going to inevitably see players play more of these. Now, this is why Human Torch is kind of ironic that I've been playing a lot of this guy, and you're seeing footage of him in the video, because he is like a great example of this. You can get tons of kills, tons of assists, tons of damage. Very easy to get MVP because you're just maxing out all of these stats. But is it actually contributing to the fight? Let's say, like a Hela might be, getting those critical eliminations, effective DPS, killing the enemy, whereas the Human Torch, you could argue, is just farming damage into the enemy tanks. It's a very nuanced debate, this is. And this leads us into another area of this entire skill-based matchmaking system, or rank skill-based MMR system for rewards, is you cannot quantify some levels of, or well, not really levels of skill, but you cannot quantify some skills. Say you're a Vanguard say you run in as Captain America and you create space. Now, a lot of Overwatch players out there, I'd be like, well, I've heard this story before, Sty. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. Because I was there back then when this was happening as well, probably making videos on it. If you make space as Cap, this allows your DPS to get in and do what they need to do. Or maybe you peel as Cap and you help your supports and you keep them alive from maybe an enemy Venom, which is jumping into your back line. So how do you quantify that? Because look at what's happening. You're not doing tons of damage. You're not on the objective. You're not getting loads of kills. You're not taking tons of damage. You're basically running over to save your supports, because if they die, you'll lose the fight. But is that not the best play to make? Probably. However, it's not in the sense of you just want raw reward. You want more points for a win. You want less points for a loss. So what you should be doing with Cap, this is why the system is not great at the moment, is just running in and carrying on with the fight and hoping your supports keep you alive. Forget what's going on. You need to maximize your uptime in fight, damage, assists, eliminations, damage block, and all of that stuff. That's the problem. And this is a big issue because you can extrapolate this out across all of the different heroes. You can start looking inside roles. I think Human Torch, again, is a good example of this. He's one of those heroes where it's quite easy to get MVP. So you'll notice if you lose games, yeah, you might lose 18 points, but if you win, you might get 30-odd points. And that is absolutely insane. I've noticed this with my own match history. I'm getting a ton of points when I win with Human Torch, even compared to like playing Hela or even different, like even Iron Man, which I think is quite strange. But Human Torch is just outputting more damage. Maybe I'm a better Human Torch player. Maybe he's broken, whatever, right? A lot of ways of looking at this. But the fact is, you're MVP, you're doing damage, you're getting kills, you're getting eliminations. On paper, that sounds great, doesn't it? That's like, okay, this guy's doing really well. The problem becomes when certain heroes are better at doing that, and so they get better rewards out of the system. And like I said, this is extremely nuanced, because if you look at, let's use Black Widow. She's a good example of this. So Black Widow, let's imagine you're not doing anything, in air quotes, all game. You're just sort of missing a load of shots, whatever. But then you pop off, you kill both of the supports, bang, bang, quick succession. But you're not doing massive amounts of damage consistently over the game. Maybe your Human Torch is, right? But your Human Torch isn't the one securing these kills or maybe even getting these entry kills into a fight. You think about it, right? If it's 6v6 to begin with, if you get a pick at the start of a fight, that's actually incredibly strong. That's actually way better than you can argue getting picks in a fight, because you begin with a 6v5. And how can you quantify that pick? Maybe it's only, to a lower... Let's say you've done 350 damage and killed the hero. But the Human Torch in that fight phase does maybe 2,000 damage, but doesn't kill anyone, but is doing damage over that fight. Who is getting rewarded more here? And your team win the engagement? Surely it should be the Widowmaker that's from Overwatch, but the Black Widow that's got the kill, which allowed you to engage. Again, that's an extremely difficult thing to quantify in the game. Now, another thing I want to talk about here, before we get into some possible solutions for this, is I'm going to say this. I'm going to straight up say this, and I'm sorry if this offends anyone, because it offends me, right? Rivals is casual. It is a casual competitive game. It is not some die-hard, high-end, insane game like Valorant or CSGO. Well, that's not even a thing anymore. Is it CS2? I'm showing my age here. Or like even Overwatch, right? When it comes to competitive. They are like extremely... they're punishing games. You need to be able to play your hero. You need to understand the meta. Rivals is a lot more lax, and that's the beauty of the game. I think this is really good. It's almost like we've got a new revolution of competitive games coming out, where you see this with... what was that other game I was playing the other day? What was it? Oh, no, it's Overwatch. What am I talking about? It's... The stadium mode in Overwatch, it's like casually competitive, and it's almost like a new phase of competitive gameplay, right? Where it isn't this ultra sweaty, oh my god, I've got to be absolutely playing out of my mind. It's like, yeah, you can relax. You've got that sort of quick play feel, and you've also got that bit of competitive nature. The way I like to view Rivals is the comp mode, ranked, is like quick play with structure. And that's fine. I think that's great, because you're going to generally get 2-2-2 comps. You might get a 1-3-1, 1-3-2 comp, or something like that. It's fine. You generally get a team that wants to play together as well. I know you get throwers and whatever. So, yeah, I don't think Rivals should go too far down this performative path, because I think one of the strengths of the game is it is quite casually competitive, and I think just having the system they had before is probably fine. I mean, that's also got issues, because it means you can just repeatedly play games, and over time you generally would just rank up anyway. It wouldn't matter if you were like an insane player with a ridiculous like number of wins compared to losses. In that case, you'd rank up faster, but somebody who just puts 10 times the amount of hours in and just repeatedly grinds gains would probably get fairly close to you anyway. And that's the way it works. You would generally get in more for a win than you were for a loss. Now we've gone in the other direction, and this direction is if you're not doing what the game deems to be what you should be doing on that hero, you won't get as much results, you won't get as much points. So let's talk about how you fix this, right? Because it's all well and good moaning about this is not great, it's not bad. How the hell do you fix it? Well, there's this issue with weighting. We don't know what weight they give certain actions. So when you look at Human Torch, it's clear that they're giving weight because you're a duelist to the amount of damage you do, the amount of kills you do, the amount of assists you do, whether you get MVP. But the question is, what is the weighting? Is the weighting like massive if you get MVP? And MVP is obviously based off a load of other stats as well. Or is it more weighted because you've got more damage on your team than anybody else, or more damage in the lobby than anybody else, and your team loses, so you lose less points? Or you've got more kills, or you've got more assists, you see, or less deaths. This becomes a problem. Now, you could say, this is simple to work out. A Vanguard, it should be damage blocked, right? Surely. Damage blocked and deaths. Then you can do the damage they do, right? We look at those three as the main stats. Then you look at supports and strategists, and you go, okay, it's just healing provided and assists, right? Surely that's the way you do it. You don't focus on their damage. And then for duelists, you just say, well, it's the most damage done and kills. The problem is, like we've just been over in this video, you can't do that because you can't quantify a tank making space. You can't really quantify a type of duelist getting critical kills in a game. So, you know, you like I said, the example with Black Widow, you get that opening pick, you maybe kill the enemy Adam Warlock straight away. Or what about, let's use Adam Warlock again as another example. What about you kill Adam Warlock and then you kill him again before he, when he comes back in his cocoon, or you kill him as he's trying to pop his res? Surely that's a much more valuable kill than just killing him randomly in a fight. Would the game give more weight to that? And I don't think the game's complex enough to understand that. So I think what we've got is this problem with weighting. We don't know what actions you should be doing to get a better reward. Now, surely the ultimate action should be winning the game. And this is why we always come back to this problem with these performance-based systems of the point is to win the game. The point is not to gain how many stats you collect in a match to maximize or minimize the amount of points you get from either a loss or a win. It should be to win. And this is where you get systems where you could look at a hybrid system where you've got performative based. Overwatch does this up to a certain rank, and then after that it becomes win or loss. Now, this might be an easy way to fix this because then you're not going to deal with, you know, all of these other associated issues. You're still going to have them as you're getting up to these ranks. Like, imagine if you get up to Diamond and then suddenly in Diamond it's plus 25 for a win, plus 25 for a loss, and that's it. Would that cure this? That's a very simplistic way of curing it. It's not a way of going into the sort of algorithm and thinking, how can we fix this? What changes can we make to the performance-based system? So I think that hopefully outlines what's going on at the moment with Ranked in Season 2, guys. It is a bit of a mess. And unfortunately, if you're obsessed with ranking up, and you want to do it efficiently, there are certain heroes within the roles that you play you should probably be playing more of. Like I said, Adam Warlock, you should probably play Invisible Woman because you're going to get a lot more damage, a lot more assists, a lot more healing, a lot more damage blocked. You're going to max out those stats, and it's easier for you to get MVP based off that. And it looks like MVP is extremely strong when it comes to when you win the game. But of course, you'll be the SVP if your team lose, and you'll lose a lot less points, and that is a problem. And of course, this works for a bunch of different heroes as well. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, guys. Are you suffering from this? Like I said, I'm suffering from it, but I'm almost like trying to not let it affect me. What I've tried to do in this video is just sort of put together like what I think about this system and how you get to this point. Maybe some examples and some solutions that the devs could look at. But I want you guys to let me know what you think. Do you think a hybrid system could work? Do you think they need to go back and completely get rid of this system? Do you think we just need to go back to the way it was back in Season 1 and 1.5? Just embrace the casual competitive nature of the game? Or do you think we should go down a path of, yeah, everything should be like, you know, super competitive. We should be really looking at everyone's stats. If someone's bad on your team, they should get punished. Do you think that's the case? It should be. Or does that start rewarding the wrong attitude? Because, well, surely the point is to win the game, not pad your stats. It's interesting, isn't it? All right, guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed that, then let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa, and you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. And, yeah, do like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you soon.